What happens when someone spends 20,000 years building a wall? You don't climb over it, you walk around it. Tesla's self-driving system has logged 6 billion miles of real-world driving. 6 billion. If one person drove 8 hours a day at 60 kilometers an hour without ever stopping to eat, sleep, or rest, it would take 20,000 years to cover that distance. 20,000 years of driving experience, compressed into a neural network, in unmanned Robotaxi testing in Austin, across 500 to 600 kilometers of city streets. Humans only needed to intervene once or twice. No other system on Earth can do that. But 3 days ago, 19 automakers lined up to sign a deal, not with Tesla. 4 sections today. Each one will change how you think about what just happened. First, why self-driving has burned through thousands of billions over 15 years. And why only Tesla survived. The answer isn't what you think. Second, those 19 automakers aren't chasing technology. They're chasing a $1 trillion ticket. I'll break down the math. Third, Musk has 4 cards left. I'll flip each one and show you the countdown timer written on the back. Fourth, the question everyone wants to ask but nobody dares answer. Why doesn't Tesla just open up FSD? Because the moment they do, it's over, before we talk about those 19 companies. You need to understand one thing. What's actually been killing self-driving for 15 years? It's not money. Google's Waymo started in 2009, backed by one of the richest companies in human history. They spent over $30 billion. The result? A system that only works in about 250 square kilometers of Phoenix. Phoenix, flat roads, light traffic, clear skies. Arguably the easiest driving environment on the planet. Rainy Tennu, Widlock Bangkok, snowy Chicago. Waymo still won't go there. $30 billion for a fair weather system. It's not engineering talent. Apple launched Project Titan in 2014. At its peak, over 2,000 engineers. The same company that designed MIMC chips and built iOS. If anyone had the engineering muscle, it was Apple, but in 2024, they killed the project. 2,000 people laid off. What killed them? Not technology, data. Apple has over 1 billion MIGs, but not a single car on the road. To teach a self-driving system to recognize pedestrians in a downpour, it first needs to see 1 million pedestrians in downpours. No car, no data, no model. Apple's engineers couldn't manufacture what they'd never seen. Uber's story is worse. March 2018. A test vehicle in Tempe, Arizona hit and killed a woman pushing a bicycle across the road at 10 p.m. The safety operator was in the car, scrolling her phone. The sensors detected the pedestrian 6 seconds before impact, but the software classified her as other object and didn't trigger emergency braking. 6 seconds, 1 life, 1 industry-wide wake-up call. Uber sold off its entire self-driving division. Wouldn't even say the name again. 300 billion, hundreds of billions. 1 life. That's the real bill for 15 years of autonomous driving. You think the problem was money or technology? It wasn't. It was something more fundamental. A death loop. You need massive real-world driving data. You need millions of cars on the road. To put cars on the road, your self-driving has to already be reliable enough. Chicken and egg, The entire industry was stuck in this loop for 15 years. Only one company broke out. The method was brutal. Sell electric cars first, and turn millions of owners into a free data collection army. You think you're commuting? You're actually training Tesla's AI for free. That's why, for the past decade, the industry consensus was, only Tesla can crack this. Not because they're the smartest, because they're the only ones with millions of cars on the road. 3 days ago, that consensus shattered. Huang said, "You don't need to collect your own data anymore. Use my model to get your car on the road first. Once it's on the road, data comes naturally." The chicken and egg problem, solved by a man who doesn't make cars and doesn't drive. Pied. Those 19 automakers didn't sign with NVIDIA to compete with Tesla on spec sheets. They signed for a ticket. Dissemination. Mobility as Let me walk you through the real numbers. A ride-hail car in a major city. The driver works 10 hours, picks up roughly 20 rides. After platform fees, fuel, food, and insurance, the driver takes home maybe $50 to $60, but the car's daily depreciation and maintenance, about $15. Over 60% of that car's revenue goes to the person sitting behind the wheel. Remove that person. The car runs 20 hours a day. No breaks, no meals, no fatigue. No phone scrolling. Daily rides double from 20 to 40. Uber has announced that NVIDIA-powered Level 4 Robotaxis will launch in LA and San Francisco in 2027. By 2028, 28 cities across 4 continents. Long-term target, 100,000 vehicles. McKinsey's 2025 report projects the global autonomous mobility market will hit $1.5 trillion by 2030. Right now, the global auto manufacturing industry does about $3 trillion in annual revenue. Profit margin, 5 to 8%. Build a car, sell it, make a few $1,000s, done. But what if the automaker doesn't sell the car? What if it operates the car itself, charging per kilometer, renting per hour? Margins jump to 25, 30%. Every car becomes a cash machine that never sleeps. Toyota's president said it last year in the future. Fewer companies will sell cars. More will sell mobility. That's what the ticket is worth. Those 19 automakers aren't buying chips. They're buying a seat at a $1 trillion table. Miss the boat. And you're standing on the dock, watching everyone else leave. PTES won't take this lying down. Musk has 4 cards, but every one of them has an expiration date. Card 1. 6 billion miles of data. Tesla's deepest moat. No automaker can match this volume in 3 to 5 years. But the water level in that moat depends on one assumption. No one else's water rises. Pull up NVIDIA's earnings report. Automotive revenue last quarter, $5.92 billion. Less than 1% of total revenue. Yet, Huang positioned autonomous driving as the company's second largest growth engine. 1% revenue, second largest engine. He's not looking at this quarter. He's looking at the world after 19 automakers start collecting data simultaneously. One company can't catch Tesla. 19 running together for 3 years. Data is a game where volume can substitute for vintage. Countdown, 3 to 5 years. Card 2, the last 10%. Musk said something that cuts deep. Getting to 90% isn't hard. The last 10% might take another 5 years. He's right. Recognizing a fallen tree in a downpour. judging whether an elderly person will step into the road against blinding sunlight, navigating a construction zone with no lane markings. These edge cases require billions of miles of data, trained frame by frame. Tesla has been crawling through that hell for years. That experience isn't for sale, but here's the cold math. 19 horses leave the gate at the same time. Each one attacks a different 10%. You tackle rainstorms. I tackle construction zones. She tackles glare. Nobody needs every horse to finish if 3 or 4 break through. The market shifts. This isn't about who's smarter, it's probability. The larger the sample, the faster the breakthroughs. Countdown, 5 to 8 years. Card 3, vertical integration. Car, chip, sensors, software, all Tesla. All in-house. Every layer owned end to end. This is Tesla's soul, but 2007 had an almost identical script, Nokia. The world's most powerful phone company. Symbian, built entirely in-house top to bottom. Smooth, stable, polished. Every line of code tuned to perfection on their own hardware. Then Android appeared. Laggy, battery hungry, buggy, worse than Symbian. At literally every metric. But Android did one thing. It let Samsung make spam circs, and HTC and Huang, and 1,000 factories worldwide. 3 years later, Nokia's global share went from 40% to 3%. They didn't lose on tech, they lost on numbers. A closed system taken to perfection still can't beat everyone at once. A Mercedes ran 40 minutes of San Francisco city streets on NVIDIA's platform. 90% autonomous. One safety driver takeover. Good enough might arrive sooner than you think. All 4 cards laid out. You might still feel Tesla is safe, but what comes next will change your mind. Card 4. Brand. In the minds of consumers worldwide, autonomous driving equals Tesla. That mental real estate is priceless. But brand has one fatal limitation. It only works in the private car market. You hail an autonomous taxi after work. Do you check the logo on the hood? You care about 3 things: arrival time, price, and safety. The taxi market doesn't care about brands. It cares about cost and efficiency. And the taxi market is exactly where autonomous driving lands first. PI, know what you're thinking. Why doesn't Tesla just license FSD to other automakers? Sounds reasonable, but this road is